All right, we're going to public input. We're going to recess formal portion of the meetings to entertain comments or questions on the agenda items. Right to the agenda items. I got Abigail. You have 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to raise my hand, okay? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Abby Baran, and I am here again to give my final words on the future of Empower Academy. My perception from attending all of the previous meetings is that you have already decided on closing the school. This is based on the fact that the board has not publicly debated any alternative courses of action on keeping Empower going. The only thing that has been discussed is how we are going to be absorbed into the other middle school structures. I believe that as the people most directly affected by this major decision, we deserve to know what other courses of action were discussed. I have emailed you all several times with comments and questions, and I have received responses each time. And every response rounded back to the money. Empower cannot stay open because it's too expensive. But having to completely renovate the space, which will then be too small for district office, as it was in 2016, which was stated by former Superintendent Tim Culver, isn't. In the spring of 2015, plans were drawn up for a space in the 9th grade center. These plans were for 8 classrooms, not for a district office. It was too expensive for the district office to be moved there because the space wasn't built for that. Another issue is that it has been claimed that Empower was created for the enrollment bubble. There were too many kids coming into the district. What happens when the predicted student enrollment is wrong again and the district population increases? We'll be right back here again, debating on schools. I hope I was able to give some final thoughts about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Cody? Again, 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Cody Brand. I'm Abby's dad. As you can tell, she's very passionate about keeping Empower open, as am I. I was going through some of the documents that have been publicly made available to us, and I was reviewing the April 2016 report by former Superintendent Tim Culver. And I'm reading his thoughts on creating this innovative model of personalized learning. And it strikes me that he had 2 problems: possible overpopulation at the middle school and needing to move the district office. Tim Culver, rather than deciding to move the district office into the 9th grade center space, which was originally designed for 8 classrooms, to have to renovate it to a district office space, opted to go a different path, a very creative and innovative path, I thought, to expand a new learning style of program for students. In the end of his report, he talks about what might be the drawbacks. He says the district office remains in a building that is poorly organized and which will need maintenance over time. We need to develop a plan to deal with this. So he recognized that back in 2016. Here we are in 2024 with the same problem set. However, he says, I would rather program students into a prime school space and keep our offices in a dated building in order to achieve great savings to taxpayers and, most importantly, to innovate how schools of the future might best operate. I think what Tim Culver was advocating for was a groundbreaking, innovative path for student learning in Oak Creek, and I think that we owe it to our students to continue down that path, to expand Empower rather than shut it down.
Thank you. I apologize if I'm saying this wrong. It's yours? Sorry. Sorry about that.
My name is Saoirse Yoder, and I'm a 6th grader at Empower Academy. I've been to all the board meetings for the discussion about Empower. I've heard you talk about what's best for budget, best for district offices. I haven't heard anything about what's best for myself as a student. In the situation report, I am not a student with a future to think about. I'm just a number that can be easily absorbed by East. Well, I don't want to be absorbed by East. I don't want you to take away the opportunities that Empower gives me. and listening to the transition plan that was presented did not make me feel any better. A locker move-in day and lunch buddies are fine for any new students, but there was nothing about how Empower is different. At Empower, my classes have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, so we can all learn from each other. I get to go at my own pace in math. No one has to be confused or frustrated. My teachers know My teachers know who I am and constantly give me feedback to learn and improve. At East, will I even talk to my teachers outside class? Will I spend the rest of middle school with teachers who can't even say my name right? I have the opportunity to do passion projects, where I'm learning time management, organization, and communication skills. I get to pick a topic I am passionate about. I get to pick a topic I am passionate about and research it. I'm a radioactive llama, and my LEGO League team is going to the national tournament in May. I won't get any of these opportunities at East. The other middle schools are not the best choice for me, and they're not the best choice for a lot of families at Empower, which is why many families, including mine, will be choosing to a different school system if you choose to enclose Empower. I'm Empower. I'm a student with a lot of potential in my future. What am I worth to you? Thank you.
Jason?
Hello, I am Jason Becker, and I am currently a 7th grade student at Empower Academy. I was very unhappy to hear that the school board is thinking of closing the middle school I go to. Here's how closing Empower Academy will affect me, Jason Becker, personally. The first thing is that the learning style of Empower is not the same. We are not separated by grade levels, so we are together in classes. So for example, my ELA class has some 6th and some 7th graders. It would be hard having to get used to being around people the same age as me all the time when I'm used to being around people in different grades. The next thing is that ELA and science are not done in order, meaning that you might do 8th grade ELA in your 6th grade year, but our teacher personalizes it for your grade, so you're still getting everything, which allows the multiple grades together at a time. Additionally, if Empower closes, as a 7th grader now who hasn't started a foreign language, I won't be able to start one next year, meaning I would be forced to wait until 9th grade. That means I would have to take it all 4 years of high school, and I would not have a chance to take AP, German, or Spanish. Additionally, by needing to take all 4 years in high school, which I want to do for college acceptance, that means my other choices for high school classes will be limited because I need to take foreign language all 4 years. This will put me at a disadvantage compared to kids who have attended East or West for middle school. Another thing is that we do passion projects. It's a time of our school day when we get to work on something we are passionate about. I have done passion projects on trains, robotics, woodworking, and more. I would be very sad if I was not able to do passion projects anymore and help my FLL team as I've been doing as a part of my projects this year. The most important thing is that I have made many friends at Empower Academy, and if the school board closes Empower, I will be separated from many of them, because if you go to a different school, you don't really get to see your friends, so it would be very hard to deal with. And also, I don't know any of the teachers or students at West, and I don't even know how to navigate West. I would be forced into a really hard school year, and it would mean transferring schools, and then I would have to do it all over again in 9th grade a year later. And before I go, I'd like to ask what your decision would be if you had one of your kids or grandkids currently at Empower. Well, I'm one of the 78 kids, and closing Empower will have long-lasting negative impacts on me personally. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt? Got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So this was going on 2 months now. We've had these conversations, right? I think that you've heard from all the students at this point. You understand the impact they're going to have on their lives. I speak to you as a parent of a son. I also am a resident of the district for about 15 years. Sorry. I think part of the problem that we are having right now is that this does not feel like it's actually addressing a budgetary issue. It feels like it is an agenda item that now has a financial excuse backing it up. I believe it was Abby's point, there has not been any follow-up to any of the suggestions that we've given to you When we first sat here in January or February, you specifically requested ideas or suggestions to come up with the budget shortfall. There has been no public discourse about any of those items presented to us. So it feels like we're just kind of doing a dog and pony show here, telling you, hey, we have these ideas, and nothing is being given back to us. To that end, we did just have an election. We do have Board-elect Whitman in the room here, and I feel like it would be disingenuous to hold this vote without her being installed on the board. So I would respectfully ask that this vote get postponed until her voice can be heard. She was elected in no small part because of her opinion on Empower, and I feel like the district deserves her voice to be heard because I frankly don't see it from the rest of the board right now. I'm getting a lot of platitudes, we're getting a lot of half-assed responses, sorry for the language, but unfortunately, it's not feeling like we're being represented up there. To that end, again, I'm a CPA. I can respect the financial aspect of this. I understand that numbers are what they are. This feels like it's on shoddy information. The way that this entire presentation was put together, like I said, would get shot down in any boardroom. But if it does come to it, there's a responsible way to do this. Pulling the rug out from the existing students is not it. My son is going into 8th grade. He's been in the Empower program for 2 years now. That means that he's pretty much part of the program, right? You can't just lift up one kid from 2 years of that and plug him into West Middle School. His math will suffer. His ELA will suffer. His social studies will suffer. Make no mistake about it. You can bring in the West principal in here and say, we'll just absorb them. I promise you that will not take place. Okay, will they adapt? Of course they are. They're kids. They're resilient. But there's a way to do this. Sunsetting the program would be the way to do it. We've been talking about numbers, and there are only 78 kids, and it's $500,000 under the background of a $100 million budget, by the way. We haven't talked about the commitment the district made to these students. Every kid here was recruited to go to Empower. You cannot then pull the rug out from them halfway through and say, I'm sorry, we can't find the money for you. It's $500,000. You guys can find it somewhere. Thank you.
Meredith?
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Meredith Whitman. I just got a very nice introduction. So we have all heard all of the reasons on why Empower is so important to so many students and their family. It seems like we haven't been able to convince you to keep it open, so you could still at least give them a better transition plan. This will be an emotional time for many students and their families. I know we can work together to make this a smoother transition than just shutting down and leaving them in the dark. There's been a lot of talk about curriculum deficits, and while this is important, we also need to take into consideration the social aspect of the transition for these students. It has been suggested that the district will try to place students together in the same houses in their new middle school. I suggest we do more than that. The Empower students should be at least allowed to pick the middle school location they want to attend. We do understand the parents would have to figure out transportation potentially if they do not choose their home school location. Since this is going to be such a drastic change for our students that it would be appreciated if it were informed of the school they would be attending next year by the end of this May. So instead of waiting till summer when you typically would do a intra-district transfer. This would allow students to continue to succeed with fellow students who have been supporting them along their Empower journey. This would be a no-cost option to this situation and make it at least somewhat easier for all of the families involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to reconvene former portion of the meeting for board discussion and interaction. It's number 7, action items, future of Empower Academy. I need a motion.
Dudzik moves to close Empower Academy at the end of the 2023-24 school year.
Second. Any discussion?
I guess I want to say that, we've heard a lot of information. We've all had a lot of information. We've heard from the community. It is sad that we have to consider this, but when we look at costs, we look at scores, we're kind of in a no-win situation. I've researched and looked at other districts that have had programs, and one of their big discussion points is that the cons are the cost of the program and the time. And I know some of you might not agree with that, but that has brought me some solace in that we're not just being willy-nilly on this, and they really aren't. They look at lots of different things in order to make big decisions like this. I feel we have a good plan in place for transitioning kids. Personally, I guess I would like to have Meredith's ideas, like at least considered as far as picking a school, especially if there wouldn't be a cost involved to that. At least maybe we could look at the pros and cons of that. It's going to take all of us to make this as smooth a transition as possible. The staff, the board, district office, and parents. We all can work together to make this as easy as possible. And is there any other input from district office as far as planning that we've done so far?
So we've been meeting recently with regards to the academic portion of the planning. So myself, Kelsey Noack, principal, Megan at West, Sue at East, John Krennick, our director of curriculum instruction, Danny Palm, our director of assessment. So we've been doing some curriculum mapping to see where if there's any deficits that would need to be made up. Right now, looking at it, we're fine with math, social studies, and English. Science, there is some gaps that we would need to work at closing. So Sue and Megan have solicited some feedback from the group here and are working to put together some ideas that will help make up those deficits. Okay. In terms of students that want to continue in advanced math, it would be no different than the students that currently attend East and West. Students that are in 6th grade going into 7th grade can obviously start out with a foreign language. We are looking to address to see about the possibility for those students that are in 7th grade going into 8th grade, about the idea of getting a foreign language and working with the high school, potentially seeing if we can offer something like a 0 hour at the high school, which would be their first period. I know there was a couple questions about some students going on the Costa Rica trip with the high school Spanish club, and they would still be allowed to go. May not have the full experience because of maybe not being able to attain some of the Spanish, but they would still be allowed to go. So there's a lot of things in the works there, along with the transition plan that the middle school principals shared a couple meetings ago. So it's wraparound services. Kelsey's been very gracious too in terms of, we'll work at, helping the schools get to know each student that's coming in, if there's any specific needs, and those types of things. So there's a lot of things that are being done, that will be done to help ease with that transition.
And
there's also other, anything else that would, come across that we may not be thinking about.
Okay, so there'd also be some discussion, or at least meeting with the individual kids
Yes.
that are going over, and if there's concerns from parents about anything particular that would be
Yes.
involved as well? Okay,
Definitely.
thank you.
So, yeah, I agree with comments that Cheryl was saying, but I think that depending on FTE for staffing at East and West, and then also the class size, but letting the student pick if they want to go to East or West, which one they prefer. I know you brought up about the trip, which is fine. Also, I know I've been asked about Excel or advanced courses. Are they going to be available at East and West? So we got to make sure we're very sensitive on that, so that.
That's no different than what
Yeah,
current students have there now. So it would be the same opportunity.
They
Yep.
understand that, so.
Definitely.
That's very important to a lot of parents that reached out, and so. Any other discussion from the board?
I have a couple things. So when Dr. Burmeister and the board put together the referendum to create the 9th grade center and Forest Ridge, it specifically did talk about moving the district office in that referendum. So the citizens of Oak Creek originally voted that. Now, when Dr. Culver came in, there was a change in mind, and the board went ahead and, in my opinion, really disregarded the citizens of Oak Creek and what we voted for in the first place. That's water under the bridge. There's nothing we can do about that. But that's something we really need to start thinking about when we pass these referendums, It's that we're actually doing what we're telling the people of Oak Creek we're going to do. All right? So the second thing is, I've been on the board for 3 years, and for 3 years, I've experienced how great Empower is, okay? I probably have more experience with Empower students than anyone on this board. I have seen alumni of Empower. I have worked with their FLL teams, all right? They are a great group of students, and they thrive because they're a great group of students. I don't think they're going to have as much trouble as they think incorporating into an exceptional school, all right? That's what the grade that East Middle School got, all right? And West is almost as high,
They are.
all right?
They are.
So West and East Middle School can be a solution for these students, okay? We have sent an FLL team to a national event from West Middle School, right? There are FLL programs that are at both schools that will be every bit as great as what they're going on. Passion projects, I'd like to see every single middle schooler in the district have an opportunity for passion projects. I think that should actually be a class in middle school, is to do a passion project.
Agree.
So unfortunately, this is a tough pill to swallow, but we have to move forward and unfortunately make this tough decision. So, that's all I got.
Good points, Jerry. Anybody else comments?
I guess just to back up Jerry's comments here, I think what we're looking at here, I mean, the board doesn't take decisions like this lightly. We tried to look at all our options, and there really aren't too many options out there for us. It all boils down to the actual cost that we're putting into a program that has a very limited amount of students in it. And we'd like to keep everything that we've got going in the district, but at some point in time, there's decisions that got to be made, and they're tough ones, and this is one of them. And hopefully we come up with some real good options for some of the students that are going to be displaced out of this certain program. But we've got a good school district here. We keep building onto what we have, and hopefully we can move forward from this and come up with some real good options for the students that are being displaced out of something that they really like. That's about all I have to say on it, too.
Anybody else?
I think last for me is that the board should hold the middle schools accountable to make sure that they are servicing these kids.
I agree.
That there should be check-ins with Mr. Thielen and Bridget. We should be making sure that these kids are thriving. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, with the parents, obviously, too.
I guess I have to reiterate, too, that, you know, we don't want to appear that we're just pulling the rug out from underneath of everybody. And I'm sure that in the coming months, I mean, there's going to be other options that are put before the staff and administration to see where we can make up for some of the shortfalls that are going to probably occur from this. So hopefully we can move forward on it.
Any other questions? Comments? All right, roll call. Right down the line. Mike?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Sadly, yes.
Jerry?
Yes?
Mark?
A reluctant yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Darren?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay. I'm reluctant, yes, also. Apologize. All right.